This week on WestfordCAT News, we feature the town's 9/11 memorial service.
As we reflect on that day and the years since, we recognize that we cannot stop all the evil in the world, but we can choose how to respond.
Take a look at school enrollment for the 2021 school year and tell you where the Central Mosquito Control sprayed to protect the town's young athletes.
So I felt, and the department felt, that we should be treating preventatively right now while we can.
Stay tuned. WestfordCAT News is next. I'm Christina Liedberg, a WestfordCAT volunteer and assistant director of the J.B. Fletcher Library. Before we get started, I'd like to remind you to sign up for our email alerts. To get our latest Westford news articles, just visit westfordcatnews.org and click on the red subscribe button in the upper right-hand corner. School committee members held a preliminary discussion on September 9th about Superintendent Bill Olson's goals for the coming school year. Here he is presenting them.
Some goals for next year. As you know, the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education requires superintendents to propose at least one student learning goal, one professional practice goal, and several system-wide improvement goals. I will be finishing off all of the objectives and the measurement criteria for our next meeting. I wanted to get your input on the suggested goals. I want to continue to work, very importantly, with all of you, the Citizens Advisory Committee this year, the staff, the students, community, bus company, to plan and implement revised school start times for the 2021 school year. That is a continuation of this past year's goal. As we know, it was short-stopped as a result of budget concerns. We're going to continue to meet with Neshoba Tech staff, with our planning team from Westford Academy, to take a look at programs and projects that we can develop between students.
The committee members were also presented with a comprehensive look at student enrollment by Director of School Finance, Ingrid Nilsson. Here's Nilsson reflecting on the development, followed by Olson.
So, as everyone knows, we have been diving into data for months. But now that school starts, this is reality. So I think we learned a lot in the process, and are really seeing some changes. I think we've all needed some time to digest that we are down 129 students and what that meant. I know I did. So I feel better about the number personally, in the sense that understanding it now. I think our schools work very hard at trying to capture as much data too when people unenroll, and I think that's been really valuable.
But I want to pick up on something that Gloria mentioned at the last meeting. We're looking at different iterations of maps, and there is the possibility that I may present to you. I've got two more maps to take a look at over the next week and a half or so. I may recommend to you holding off until the 21-22 school year, because I'm looking at maps with the current school districts right now, the current district lines, factoring in potential new students divided up K-2, 3-5, 6-8, 9-12. And those current districts seem to be fitting a little bit better than the 6 or 7 other iterations that we've tried.
To watch the entire school committee meeting, visit westfordcat.org. Here's WestfordCAT News Director Joyce Polino-Crane with a highlight from the Selectmen's meeting.
Thanks, Christina. With stormwater management dominating much of the Select Board's meetings lately, members voted unanimously on September 9th to financially cover the government-mandated project with a 5-tiered fee structure that is based on how much square footage of impervious surface exists on each property. A 5-tiered option proposed by consultant Keith Redling, would follow these guidelines. For properties with less than 2,000 square feet of impervious surface, the fee would be $37.50 per year. Those with 2,000 to 2,900 square feet would pay $52.50 annually. Square footage greater than 2,900 but less than 4,100 would pay $75 per year. A fee of $97.50 would be assessed to properties with 4,100 to 5,500 square feet of impervious surface. Above 5,500 square feet, property owners would be charged $150 per year. Here's Selectman Andrea Perriner-Sweet reflecting on the 5-tiered proposal.
The part of the 5 tiers that I like is that for the properties, particularly in the 2,000 to 2,900 square feet, which I think captures, I know it captures almost a fifth of our homes here in Westford, does see, a reduction from what it would be if it were under the 3-tier, and that feels better to me, that those folks are paying a little bit less. That instead of paying $75, they're now paying $52.50.
Yeah, and in fact, almost a third between the tier
Yeah.
1 and tier 2 would be paying.
Right, and that feels a little bit better to me in terms of, those folks and their homes and their income.
Redlin also explained how credits would work under the new system.
And essentially, Ralph Ellis recommends that the town approach stormwater credits with a reasonable, measured approach that would grant non-residential ratepayers who substantially reduce their demand on you for water management. And that would grant a credit to certain single-family residential ratepayers in the form of a tier drop from one tier to the next one down, were you to ultimately select a residential rate structure that has more than one flat rate.
To watch the entire Selectmen's meeting, visit WestfordCAT.org. Selectman Tom Clay was absent from the meeting.
With 7 cases so far of Eastern equine encephalitis due to mosquito bites and 1 fatality, Health Director Jeff Stevens contacted Central Mosquito Control and the school department to schedule a spraying of the sports fields. Here he is listing them.
So far, Westford's been lucky that we are a community that is still sitting in the low-risk category for Tripoli and West Nile virus. However, if you look at the state map, it is all around us. It's in Bedford, it's in Carlisle, it's in Sudbury. That's only a couple of towns away, and there's the sick little girl in Sudbury right now. So we are pretty much encompassed all the way around, where it's a problem. So I felt, and the department felt, that we should be treating preventatively right now while we can. So we've been in touch with Central Mass Mosquito Control. I got in touch with the school department and our Parks and Rec, and I asked them for a list of where are our kids playing, where are the sports games, where are the fields. And they provided me with a list of fields right now, which I'll just read off, so if people live near these fields, you'll know that they're going to be treated. It's the American Legion Field in Graniteville, which is at 15 River Street, Cameron Field at 2 Pleasant, Captain Stephen Hamilton Field, which is at 170 Plain Road, the community fields at Nutting, 60 Nutting Road, VFW Fields, Forge Village, 52 West Prescott, Frost Field at 65 Main Street, Greystone Field at 15 Russell's Way, Jack Welch Field at 90 Carlisle Road, Abbott School Fields at 25 Depot, Westford Academy Fields at 30 Patton, Stony Brook Fields at 9 Farmer Way, Blanchard School Fields, and just added today was Neshoba Tech School Fields and the Nabnasset School Fields.
Spraying was scheduled for September 10th. To watch the entire Board of Health meeting, visit WestfordCAT.org. The lift at the bandstand has fallen under the scrutiny of the State Architectural Access Board because a policy sanctioned in 2009 was amended in 2013 without the board's approval. A July 31st correspondence from the AAB notified town officials that a hearing had been scheduled in Boston. The notice warned of a potentially hefty fine if the board found that the non-compliant policy was without justification. But town manager Jody Ross said town council sent a letter just before the September 5th hearing date. The board subsequently postponed the hearing. It's unclear whether it will be rescheduled.
So you may have heard that we had a letter from the Mass Architectural Access Board about the common bandstand and the lift that does bring disabled people when needed up to the top of the bandstand. And actually, we had a hearing that we were asked to come in and speak about this, but our attorney and staff wrote a letter to the MAAB asking them for clarification and explaining what our policy was, and they actually postponed that hearing. So we were not forced to go in. That may change, but now that is on hold.
Ross said the original policy listed the police and fire departments as resources should the lift need attention. But due to a shortage of public safety personnel, Ross listed her own office as a resource instead. For more detailed information, visit westfordcatnews.org and search for bandstand lift. A 9/11 memorial service took place on September 11th in the courtyard between the police department and town hall. Here's Patty Stalker with more.
Dozens of Westford residents, along with town and public safety officials, gathered in the courtyard next to Town Hall on September 11th to observe the 18th anniversary of the 9/11 terrorist attacks on the U.S. that took the lives of 2,977 men, women, and children. Veteran Service Officer Ryan Cobley emceed the event, which included a moment of silence, poetry readings, and the sounding of last call. Deputy Fire Chief Dan Britko and Police Chief Tom McEnany read the firefighters and police officers' prayers respectively, followed by Chairman of the Westford Monument Committee Nancy Cook, who read an emotion-inducing rendition of the poem One by Cheryl Sawyer.
As we retell with pride of the sacrifice of our heroes, we became one people. We are one color, one class, one generation, one gender, one faith, one language, one body, one family, one soul, one people. We are the power of one. We are the United States of America. Thank you.
Here's State Representative Jim Arcero paying tribute, followed by Board of Selectmen Chair Elizabeth Almeida.
Here in Westford and across our great nation, we will never forget the lives taken on that fateful day, and the many who have passed from the health effects and trauma of that day over the last 18 years. May God bless you and your families, all those precious souls who were lost on September 11, 2001, and in the years that followed, both in war and here at home. May God bless the United States of America, and God bless you all. Thank you.
My generation was forced to grow up that day as we watched the news showing us pictures of those who had died. I grew up and was still living in the Midwest, but was struck by how it seemed everyone in the country, including those of us 800 miles from New York, had a connection to someone who lost their life. For me, it was my best friend's cousin, Alicia Titus, who was a flight attendant on one of the planes that crashed into the World Trade Center. The grief of the attack was local, even in my small town in Ohio. As we reflect on that day and the years since, we recognize that we cannot stop all the evil in the world, but we can choose how to respond. In the days after 9/11, I remember a country united to support those who were wounded and grieving. Political differences were put aside for the sake of caring for neighbors and strangers. The stores sold out of American flags because we were focused on what unites us instead of what divides us.
The Westford Honor Guards were also in attendance, as was Congresswoman Lori Trahan's District Director, Emily Byrne. Watch the entire 9/11 memorial ceremony at westfordcat.org. For Westford Cat, I'm Patty Stalker.
Here's news from Town Hall.
Hi, I'm Jody Ross here with a Town Manager Update. So one thing I wanted to mention to you is, unfortunately, the large champion black oak in front of J.B. Fletcher Library has diseases, and it has to come down so that no one is injured and it doesn't fall on the building. So we are having a farewell ceremony on Monday, September 23rd at 6:30 p.m. to say goodbye to that beautiful tree before it's taken down. Another thing I wanted to mention is we do have road construction that'll be going on Route 40 from September 18th through 20th, and the road will be closed from Nutting through Dunstable. At least there'll be a detour there, and so we apologize for that inconvenience, but we wanted to let you know that. On a different note, we had a busy selectmen meeting last night on September 10th, and the selectmen actually did vote to establish a stormwater utility fee, and they also voted the credit policy. So we'll be putting those together into a final policy for their approval on September 24th. There are a couple of articles related to that on the upcoming town meeting, which I should mention is October 28th at the Abbott School at 7 p.m. The warrant is closed, and the draft warrant is being put together. The selectmen reviewed it last night, and we will put that online shortly. There's other things going on. There is a citizen petition on that warrant to add 2 liquor licenses, restaurant pouring licenses to the marketplace over by Whole Foods Plaza. They'd like to add some restaurants there. There's also some CPC articles about some affordable housing for seniors to be named after our beloved Helena Vicky Crocker, and some other articles. So I strongly encourage you to come. We had a lot of talk last night about the center of town, the new town center building, what the selectmen want to do with 63 Main, and I think they're going to take a step back and evaluate that site a little bit more. There is a survey, all these results are online, and we encourage you to look at it, and then they will come back at a future meeting and discuss that. So those are the highlights of what's going on, and I wish you the best in this fall, and talk to you soon.
This week's adoptable pets, Chihuahuas, Betty Boop and Puka, are a mother and daughter duo available now for adoption at the Lowell Humane Society. Here's WestfordCAT production coordinator, Patty Stalker, with more.
This way. This way.
Meet the Boopsters, a mother and daughter Chihuahua team available now for adoption at the Lowell Humane Society. Here's volunteer coordinator Marie Belarjon with details.
We have Betty Boop and Puka with us today. They are a mother-daughter pair looking for a new home together. Betty Boop, which is our little black and white friend here, she is 10 years old, and Puka is about 8 years old. They came into the shelter because their previous owner's landlord was no longer allowing pets. We are looking for a home with teens and adults for them. No cats or small furry things. Betty finds them pretty irresistible. And they would do well in a home with another dog. Betty can be a little bit shy when she first meets people, can be pretty cautious. Puka is usually the friendly one to come right up and greet you. Once they are comfortable with you and are your friends, they do tend to be very affectionate, especially little Miss Puka. She likes to sit on laps. You might notice that little Miss Puka's tongue does hang out quite a bit. She had a dental when she got here at the shelter, and she did lose all of her teeth. It doesn't stop her from enjoying food or treats or anything like that, but she does sometimes have her tongue stick out. Their previous owner said that they have a pretty mellow activity level. They'll have periods where they're very active, and then a lot of the time they just like to hang out. They are very bonded with each other. They tend to do pretty much everything together, so we are looking to place them together, which obviously can be a little bit tricky, being that they are an older pair of ladies. Puka's favorite thing is to hang out with people and be in their laps. Betty, it takes a little bit more convincing sometimes, but she is definitely sweet too. They are a big fan of treats, and they do love to get pets too.
So let's find the Boopsters, Puka and Betty Boop, their forever home. Contact the Lowell Humane Society at 978-452-7781 or stop by to meet the duo Tuesday through Sunday at 951 Broadway Street in Lowell. visit lowellhumanesociety.org. You can also find them on Facebook. For Westford Cat, I'm Patty Stalker.
Let's see what weather.com is predicting for the coming weekend.
I am Betsy Alvarez, a WestfordCAT board member. Here's what's happening around town over the next few days. The Lowell Irish Festival will feature live Irish music from national and local acts such as Joshua Tree, the Gobshites, Irish Whisper, and a headlining nighttime set from the Young Dubliners. There will be food trucks, family activities, arts and crafts, authentic Irish step dancing, and craft beers. The event takes place on Saturday, September 21st, beginning at 12 p.m. at the Lowell Memorial Auditorium. Tickets range from $6.25 to $10. To make a purchase, visit lowellauditorium.com and click on Events. The annual West Fest will feature a health and wellness fair beginning at 9 a.m. on Saturday, September 28 at 11 a.m. A family fun festival kicks off with food trucks, carnival games, and Touch a Truck. WestfordCAT will also be there with a few virtual reality headsets for visitors to try. This is all happening at the Stony Brook Middle School at 9 Farmer Way. The Westford Education Foundation and the Westford Health Department are sponsoring the event. For more information, visit facebook.com/westfestma. Local historians are celebrating Westford Academy's 225th anniversary this month with a tour of the 4 buildings occupied by the high school since its beginning in 1794. The event starts at 12 p.m. on Saturday, September 28, when Jeff Hall, the W8 Board of Trustees president and a 1966 W8 graduate, leads a tour of the current 1973 high school building at 30 Patton Road. At 1 p.m., a reenactor portraying Paul Revere will be in the school's bell lobby to explain why he cast the first Westford Academy bell. Next, a bus will take participants to the Abbott School, where they'll be greeted by the Westford Academy Band. Then onward to the Rodenbush Community Center and the Westford Museum on Boston Road. For more information or to register for the event, visit museum.westford.org. Back to you, Christina.
That's it for now, Westford. We leave you with scenes from the Farmers Market, still going on through September 24th.
Oh. Okay.
Espereros. Thanks a lot, brother. Okay, have a great
Because you can tuck them, you know, like. Yeah, too much like the other. Like
This
thistle?
feels pretty.
Video, for sure.